now's the greatest time as any to give this a test drive in the winter. So it's pretty slick. I barely did anything there. This is a walkthrough and review of the Polestar 2, an in-depth look to help show EV buyers, especially first-time EV buyers and cold weather inhabitants, what the car has to offer and how it performs. If you want to see a direct comparison between the Polestar 2 and the Tesla Model 3, please check out my other video for that. Let's check this car out. This is a 2021 Polestar 2 with a Plus package. You've got 3 different packages that are available. You've got the Pilot package, the Plus package, and the Performance package. You can see what the styling on this looks like. It's got a very nice look to it. So this Polestar looks a lot more like other vehicles that you see out on the road. And a lot of people probably don't even know that this is an electric vehicle unless they're kind of looking for it. Even your electric charge port that you see here, it kind of looks like where you put in the gas. So they kind of really do make it look like just a regular car on the road and nothing too flashy. But you can definitely make it that way. If you get the Performance package, you get some yellow calipers and some yellow accents on the inside. And obviously body color is another big factor of this. This is a nice midnight blue body color. You could get an aggressive body color, or you could just slap a giant decal on the hood as well and scream that, hey, I am an electric car. So here you can see the Polestar badging. You'll see that in different parts of the car. Here's the grille. The grille looks okay. Again, in combination with the lights, it looks a little mean and aggressive, but I actually don't really understand this kind of just thicker piece of black piece there it stands on. Maybe that's where you put your big sticker that says, hey, I'm an EV car. I'm not sure. But that faux grille definitely also plays into the theme here that Polestar's goal is to make an electric vehicle that is more understated as an EV and more conventional looking in a luxury sports car sense. You've also got the standard door handles and the charging door look for the traditional looks, and there is the trendy touches of a glass roof and a unique LED brake light pattern that you can find in modern luxury vehicles. The car will turn some heads more in the way of, oh, what's that? Some new European sports car? What's that? What do you mean it's electric? As opposed to say, oh, look at that, a new electric car. And if that was the goal, Polestar did a great job here. Then again, the car does have a basis in a previous gas engine Volvo design. The car is sort of a sedan with a fastback that has a liftback, while also having a little extra ground clearance that gives it a faux crossover look. Add it all up and you get this, a very solid design and gorgeous car. When I first saw this, I was pretty meh about the looks, but it grew on me quickly and now I enjoy and appreciate the design. Here's a closer look at those wheels. These are the stock 19-inch wheels, which is the smallest wheel option you can get. There are also 20-inch options, including if you get the Performance pack where you get a 20-inch wheel with a slightly different look and gold front calipers. Here's a look at the door handles on a Polestar. They're just pretty basic standard door handles. Again, you see in a lot of EVs, different door handles, I think a lot specifically to try to make it more aerodynamic and get a little bit extra miles of range on there. This is the main key for the Polestar. It controls the doors, trunk, and has a panic button. You can also get a phone app that works as a key. The app is pretty basic and not great, but Polestar says they're making it better. You also get an activity key, like other brands provide, that is much smaller and can withstand activities like swimming and working out. For those of us up here, it can also handle things like snowmobiling and ice fishing, which is very cool. A piece of unique design that I'll point out on the exterior are the rear doors and windows and this little cutout of them. It's just a little different. That's all I got. Okay, let's talk about our trunk and our frunk. So both are opened from inside here. So you can see here's the trunk latch. You have to hold it down for a moment or two. There you go. You could probably hear that pop open. And then down here is actually the frunk latch. It's a lot like popping the hood on any sort of gas car. So you just pop this up and it's a manual unlock. And then, of course, the car kindly reminds you, please don't drive while your trunk and frunk are wide open. A nice thing is you can actually shut this using the same button as well. So if you want to shut that trunk again, you just hold this down and she's shutting down there for you. But let's go around outside and take a look at those. So let's take a look inside this trunk. You can see that it's actually pretty versatile. There's a lot of handy features to weigh down anything that you've got going on in the back. You've also got this little pop-up number there, a little divider, which is very handy. Keep things from rolling around or segregate your materials in the back there. And a nice little extra bonus feature is underneath, there's actually an okay amount of extra storage and space down here if you need to throw something else down there. Overall, a pretty good trunk size for the size of the car and how small it is. Not too bad. I'm actually kind of impressed. How good of a size is it? Well, let's put it through the golf club test. Sliding these in corner to corner passes the golf club test. But let's give you a look here. You can see that it fits in there. You're probably only going to get comfortably one set of golf clubs into the back of this trunk. Two sets, it's going to require you to lay down the seats in the back there to lie your clubs in lengthwise. It works perfectly for one or two sets of clubs. All right, so let's look inside the frunk. We have an electric vehicle, so we've got a frunk. It doesn't just open for you. You got to hold this little latch to the side, and then you can go. And there's your frunk. You can see it looks kind of small, and that's because it kind of is small. I mean, look at all this extra space on the side here. I'm sure there's important components underneath down there, but you just kind of get this little middle space here for your frunk. A little divider here that can be removed, and you can see that our tire repair kit is located there. So you've got a little jack there, a little tire repair kit. There's a lot of new cars these days, not just EVs, aren't coming with spare tires anymore. They're coming with repair kits. So that's where yours is in this car. And so as you can see, when you pop the hood, just like a lot of EVs, there's really only one other thing you kind of do maintenance on, and that's your washer fluid right there. That's kind of the only thing you get to play around with in here. One last check on the exterior, the bottom of the car. Sexy stuff, right? The battery is well protected, and I don't doubt that. But I'm also looking at what's protecting the non-battery parts of the bottom of the car. The bottom is covered with a plastic that I would describe as medium thick. My short assessment is that it does seem very adequate for driving around up north and in the winter. Hop inside there. It's chilly this morning. The overall interior is solid. Very good aesthetics that play on the bolder side of safe design. The asymmetrical dashboard and having several different textures mixed throughout makes this Scandinavian design work. It's a page from the Volvo playbook, and I'm guessing it was done intentionally to help woo those EV buyers that are put off by the minimalistic Tesla-like interiors. What do I personally think? I like almost all of the elements, but there are a few things that bother me a bit, enough to not fall in love with it, like the tablet design, the gear shifter area, and other things which I'll cover in a bit. The seats are very comfortable, and I feel like the interior will hold up well in harsher weather. Now, when you get into the Polestar, one of the ways it knows that you're in there and ready to kind of start turning things on is there's a seat sensor. So when you sit down on the seat, there's going to know that people are ready to drive in it. Quick overview of some of the things. You've got your standard equipment over here, especially if you're used to Volvos, and your mirror adjustments, door locks, window locks, child lock. You've got your seat adjusters there. And then with all that, you do have a seat memory system over here. You've got some controls in the center console, the showpiece of which is your little transmission shifter. You can see it's pretty neat. You can see through it. It is just a big ring or a hexagonal type ring. And you just, when you hold the brake in, you slide it forward, backwards, depending if you want to go reverse, drive, or you push the button here to throw it into park. There's a couple buttons up here as well. I actually did not know some of those buttons existed while I was driving. This is from my perspective. And you can see that this little lever blocks it, and it actually blocks it a little bit physically too to get around and push it. I'm not a big fan of it, not a big deal, but not a big fan. So you got your hazards, you've got your play pause for the radio. This is a turner for a volume of the radio, or Spotify, I guess. Nobody does radio anymore. And these are tactile buttons that you push in that immediately do max blast in the front windshield and the defrost on the rear windshield. I believe the thought is, especially in a cold weather climate, I can appreciate this. If you just want to blast and warm up the car and defrost your front and back windshields, there are buttons right here you just have to do. You're not going to have to fiddle around and be like, oh my gosh, how do I do this again, and go on the touch screen. You can just do this here really quick, which is nice. It looks cool. It's futuristic, like that's what they're kind of going for. And they got this piano black stuff here that really collects a lot of dust and dirt and fingerprints. But I think it's kind of a waste of space a little bit. All it does, this whole area is just to select your gear. Sacrificing a use of space for some cool aesthetics and stuff. I think you could have both if you designed it a little bit better. And then sitting in the driver's seat, as you can see here, a beautiful glass roof to look out into the dreary, snowy clouds that are out there. No, it's actually really nice. I love the light. It makes it feel way bigger in here. It already has really great headroom, but this makes it feel even bigger than that. And look at this sweet touch that they've put in here. It lets all the birds know what you're driving. It's very sharp. This car, like pretty much every other car in existence, has a glove box. You can open it up manually there and you close it manually. You can see it's actually quite spacious. I'm not a big glove box person, but if you are, I've got great news for you. This one is huge. We've got a pretty standard horn that you honk in the middle. Nice. Continue on with the buttons of the car. Is that a Midwestern thing? Buttons? I'm not sure. Buttons and controls, let's say. So let's start with the stocks, because people are usually familiar with the stocks. So your left stock, all sorts of lighting controls that you've got on there, and blinker. On the right stock, let's go this way. The right stock is where primarily your windshield wiper type functions and misting and things like that. You can also set, not only do you have manual controls, ooh, look at it go, of setting your speed and then the sensitivity with there, but you can also set, this is a button that you push and have it auto sense when there's something on the windshield to wipe as well. And then this is the sensitivity for that auto sense. Coming back here on the steering wheel, you've got a left-hand side and right-hand side set of buttons. On the right-hand side is all sorts, this is good for audio. That's what I'm looking for, your music and things like that. These are controls for your heads-up display, which I'll get to in a second. This is Google Assistant, so you can just tap that and ask Google to do something for you. And left-hand side is more of your cruise control type settings. These buttons, as I'll show you up there, control the pilot assist as well, and this is your follow distance on that cruise control. So let's try to show you the heads-up display here. Here's your heads-up display. I really like this heads-up display. This button right here will toggle on whether you have the map up there or if you just want to have your basic information on what's your battery and range and what your speed is. If you click this center button, this little O, that is where your trip computer is. It kind of stinks you can only have one trip at a time on here. So as I said, here are the icons and the buttons that control the pilot assist. So when I hit that button, cruise control is supposed to come on, but I am not belted. And then if you hit the right arrow, you can see it kind of turn to gray, on and off. That's your pilot assist. So it's off now, it's on. That won't come on until you're driving as well, or until you're belted, apparently. Let's check out this back seat, because you're gonna be definitely putting something back here, right? Kids? I don't know. It's pretty tight, to be honest, even for an average sized person. I'm a little bit taller. I'm at 6'3", 6'4" on a good day. It is very tight. The seat is a little further back because I was driving. This seat was average back, and you can see that it is actually pretty tight back here. I would not recommend this for people over 6 feet tall for any extended period of time or long road trips. You will probably have to stop and take a break. You've got some vent control here, on, off, and point it whatever direction you want. And then last thing in the back seat here, you've got your old crap handles you can grab onto if someone's going crazy, or to hang your clothes, whatever you want to do. A little clothes hook here too, and a little touch light for people to use if I can learn how to touch lights. And if you are able to fit people back here, you've got the middle seat as well, but of course that pulls down into a nice little couple cup holders and armrests. You've also got spots to put your child seats in there, and then in the back corners are levers for lay down seats for the trunk slash hatchback that this car has, so you can put long things in here. All right, let's talk about the infotainment system on the Polestar. You can see we got a nice big tablet here. There's a little bit of margin on each side here, so it's not quite as big of a screen as it could be, but it's still a pretty big screen and it's pretty nice. So this is your home screen. To get to your home screen, you actually touch this bottom bar down here. Since we're already there, we're there. But it kind of divides the screen up into 4 quadrants, and there's an app in each of these quadrants. You can customize this by clicking on this little configuration of 4 boxes, your quadrants, and you can see that there's apps that live in each of these quadrants. So if I wanted to change my music to iHeartRadio, for example, I just click that and it'll load and do all this sort of thing. I obviously need some authentication. Don't you know who I am? Let's go back to the home screen by clicking on that, and you can see iHeartRadio has been added to my quadrant here. Within these quadrants and these apps, there's little shortcuts depending on which app is up here. So you can see for maps, if I just click on the maps thing in general, it brings up maps. But if I go back, I can click on, this isn't a gas station, obviously, an electric car, but this will pull up a nice map of charging stations for me, which I think is pretty handy, and that's a nice piece of technology that people are going to want when they're driving an electric car. You can see there's an overall medium speed or a slow speed, how many open spots are available. So that's actually kind of a nice feature. I would like to do one thing and show you the navigation real quick. So you click on the maps, if you go in, and then you see searching for a navigation or spot to go to, it'll also show you how much battery you expect to have left when you get there. But if I click Mall of America, for example, I'll have 18% battery if I try to navigate to the Mall of America here. This battery has always been within 1 percentage point to the good or to the bad of how much battery I had left when I arrived with normal driving. I wasn't gunning it at every single stoplight. I was driving the speed limit, 10% over the speed limit. And mind you, it's 35 degrees today. It's snowy and icy. The battery is definitely cold. The computer and the navigation seem to compensate for that and to give you a very accurate range down there when you start your trip. It's been pretty accurate, so I've actually been pretty impressed and satisfied with that. It's always good to have something that's very reliable for you when you're driving an electric vehicle, to give you a confident sense of how much battery you're going to have left. I won't go into all the apps or all the things, but that's kind of the basic function of the infotainment system in your home screen and their 4 main quadrants. I would like to go into the driver performance app really quickly. This app seems like it would be great. It could tell you a lot of things, but it really doesn't. This one's a little frustrating. I think there's a lot of room for improvement here from Polestar on things it could tell you. It just basically tells you how many kilowatt hours per 100 miles you are using. Perhaps there'll be more apps that you can download and put into there that are a little bit better. Segueing to downloading more apps. So you are connected to the Google Play Store here. Being an Android environment, you can see a whole bunch of different apps that you can download. The other thing that's on here is climate control, which may make some people upset because climate control is going to be all this gooey touchscreen feeling in the dark type of sensation, right? There's no tactile buttons. You do remember have the immediate front windshield defrost and rear windshield defrost buttons here. But if you want to do anything of nuance, you have to come here and click the little fan. I can manually increase the fan size, power here, not the size, that'd be cool. There's 3 general zones that you can direct the air. You can also put it on auto so that the car will automatically direct air where it thinks it needs to based on the temperature ranges you set here. You can set your temperature ranges separately, or you can scroll this way. Apparently that was something I didn't know. There's also this chain function, so you can link the 2 together, and now you have a single control for the entire car. Driver has heated seat and heated steering wheel, and you can adjust the level of the heated steering wheel. That's nice. I kind of like that feature. Passenger has just the heated seat, obviously. It'd be pretty interesting if it had a heated steering wheel. While you're in climate control, you can see there's main climate option. There's also a parking tab where you can set up preheating and cooling and set up schedules and things for your climate. And then you can get into some more settings for your climate. Home screen, if you click the car up here, steering feel settings, sport mode settings, 1 pedal driving. Now this is something Tesla used to have, and they have since removed about a year or so ago. You can adjust the strength of your 1 pedal driving, if you will. Standard, which is the full-on heavy regenerative brake. The low setting is nice because it just kind of reduces that harshness, and off is just like a regular gas car where you're coasting on forever, and it coasts very well. So I really like having this feature, especially if you're one who's a little bit tentative about having regenerative braking on icy or snowy roads. is you can just come here and shut it off. And you can actually turn this on and off whatever level you want on the fly while you're driving, which is really nice. And then your creep setting, electric cars, of course. Do you want a creep setting off? If you let go of the accelerator, it's gonna come to a park and hold you there. If you have the creep setting on, as soon as you let go of that, of your brake, you're gonna kind of creep forward like it was in a gas car. Assist, so these are all the different features you can turn on or off or change the settings to with your driving assist. Charging, I covered this earlier in another section. This is where you set all your charging stuff. And then this is where you can set more settings for your car. Yeah, that's the car menu. We've gone through the app menu. And then you've got your little P for Polestar. And this is to set up all your little user profiles for the car here. This is the little camera icon where you can access your camera, your reverse camera and your 360 camera. I don't think you can see that unless you start driving. So I just put the car into drive, click on this camera, defaults to the backup camera here. Backup camera here, if you click, I think anywhere, let's try anywhere. Okay, in the middle of the screen, a 360 thing will pop up and it'll give you the nice overhead view. And then if you click on that, you can access one of your 4 cameras individually if you'd like. So go back, left camera, front camera, cool things like that. That's your infotainment system in a nutshell. I breezed through it pretty quickly. I didn't want to go through all the features, but that gives you a good overview of what's available to you and what is there. We're going to actually start this up true up north style, parking it outside overnight at a balmy 28 degrees and after an inch of snow. You can see it unlocks just fine. The puddle lights on all 4 handles are really amazing. Getting into the car, you can see that the computer and all systems are fully responsive with no issues. Let's take her for a winter spin. So very quick question. What do we think about this blinker sound? It almost sounds like there's a loose cable between a couple of your devices, that little audio click that you kind of hear. Yeah, I've never heard that before. But I'm far from a car guy. I haven't driven very many cars, so maybe this is common. It seems like it's a sound that's pretty annoying, and you would be very hard pressed to leave your blinker on accidentally with this sound. Did they do some market research and find out Volvo drivers tend to leave their blinkers on and they needed to do this? I'm not sure. And I'm not saying I hate it. I just thought I would bring it up. You've got your speed and speed limit indicators on the left-hand side there, also showing your transmission and what gear you're in. Up top, you'll see different indicators for what kind of headlights you have on, when your windshield wipers are on, things like that. Top center, you can see an outside temperature, which is nice. In the very center is my next step in directions. On the right-hand side is all about your energy and your range. So the big horizontal bar that kind of looks like a battery is showing you how much energy you're using in real time. So as I hit the gas, the orange bar is going to grow to the right. As I let go, well, not gas, accelerator pedal. As I let go, you can see the bar jump to the left in white. So that shows you that, and that the white indicates that you're now kind of recharging your battery with the regenerative braking. Below that is your range. It shows it in 10-mile increments. So you will not see a change until it gets down to 100 miles. I don't love that. To the right of that is your battery power that you have left. You can see there's 47% battery. And then on the very bottom, you've got your odometer kind of on the leftish hand side. And then in the bottom center, which is kind of grayed out, is your cruise control on the leftish side. And the icon on the right with the left hand on the steering wheel is your pilot assist, which is sort of your lane keeping program that Polestar has. All right, everybody, it is time. It is time to do some pilot assist. So I'm gonna put the cruise control back on. You can see the cruise controls here. To do pilot assist, just hit one of the buttons again on the left-hand side of the steering wheel. It's the right arrow button. And you can see pilot assist is on. And it's an interesting icon, one hand on the wheel. The way that pilot assist works is you actually still steer normally. So I'm actually holding onto the wheel with both hands, and I'm staying in the lane all on my own. And the wheel is doing the same thing. So it's basically just reducing a lot of the fatigue and effort. I know it's not a lot of effort to steer the wheel, but that's its purpose, is you're still holding onto the wheel, you're still driving. this just kind of helps you keep you in the center if you start drifting. I know that's a little bit different with the lane assist in the Tesla. I feel like, at least the way mine works, is I have to hold on to it very lightly. If I try to give it any sort of just minute corrections like I do here, it'll get angry at me and it'll shut off and it'll kind of cry. I kind of like it this way, where you are still driving, you're still in full control, and this is just kind of helping you out. And in fact, it's going to make you hold on to the steering wheel. I've been holding on to this whole time. I will show you what happens when you let go. So my hands are, don't worry, I'm safe. My hands are very close to the wheel here, and I know I'm missing my exit. We're just gonna do this for the pilot assist. So I've let go of the steering wheel. My hands are nearby and close. Momentarily here, yep, you can see hold steering wheel. It gets angry because it was doing too much of the work itself. It doesn't want to do all the work for you. You kind of have to help it out a little bit, you know? Oh, a thing I really like about this as well is if I want to change lanes. So I change lanes, it shuts off. You'll notice that the pilot assist has shut off. Blinker comes off, pilot assist immediately comes back on, and I'm going again. So I love that. In Tesla's lane assist, as soon as you put on that blinker and you change lanes, it's off and you got to turn it back on yourself again. Again, I get it. That's not a lot of work. And I'm not complaining about the work about this. But I just like that the pilot assist stays on. It lets you handle your lane change however you want, and then it comes back on and helps you steer with you again. I really like that. That's pilot assist. All right, we're at a stoplight. We might have a launch opportunity here. Woohoo! Yeah! It's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you've never been in an electric car before, it's incredible. Even the Polestar. Polestar isn't the fastest by any means, but it's not slow. It still kind of gives you that feeling in your stomach, and it's still so fun. Even driving performance Model 3s or a Plaid or anything like that. Like, yeah, it doesn't live up to those expectations by any means, but it's still got a lot there, and it's still a lot of fun and brings a lot of joy when you do it. Whew! So the car feels great. We have all season tires on, so I can't get too crazy. Not that I would get crazy with winter tires, but it still feels really good with all season tires on here, and the driving and the traction. We're coming up to a slippery off ramp here. My one pedal drive is on off, so I'm just fully coasting here. No regenerative braking at all kicking in, so I'm gonna have to just like I used to always do, right? You gotta feather and pump those brakes just a little bit, just to be wary if there's any slipperiness up here. It's definitely very slippery and slick out, you can see that. I'm coming into this a little hot, but it felt good. I was in full control. It's just like winter driving in any other car. It feels the same. It feels the same in a good, reassuring way. This car is very smooth, quiet, and comfortable. You can tell it is built with the experience of a luxury car, and the end product and feel strongly reflects that. The one pedal drive is off. When I got down to slow, I didn't even quite brake all the way to stop, and it felt like the creep kicked in. Since I have creep off, it felt like once I got to that 1 mile an hour range, it just stopped and held for me automatically. I wasn't holding the brake there at all. So on the on-ramp here, definitely a little slick, but I feel like I'm in full control. I say it's slick because I know it's slippery out, but I don't feel any slipping or sliding in this car at all. I tracked some trips into Polestar to measure its performance. Check out the other videos to see the detailed breakdown and also a head-to-head against the 2021 Model 3. The Polestar did favorably. The built-in Google Maps app was very accurate, which is awesome news and very reassuring, especially for cold drives like this. It definitely seems to account for battery temp and weather. The inefficiency or miles lost was over 20%, which is definitely normal for these circumstances. Overall, very solid winter range estimation and performance. All right, let's talk about the mobile charger with the Polestar. So you can see here's your mobile charger that comes with it. Comes with the 120, 110 regular outlet piece to plug in. You got this big chunk right here, and then you've got where it plugs into your car here. And look at this, my favorite thing ever. It comes with a charging cap to protect the charger for some drops, but mostly from gunk getting in there. Now this works great, but if you're like me, you probably want something that charges a little bit faster than this. You're gonna want that 240 volt outlet. So we've also got one of those to try out here. Pretty easy. Now look at that. Look at this light up. The mobile charging cable with the Polestar is also a touch shorter than what comes with the Tesla. Not a big deal for most people's circumstances, but it is nice having that little bit of extra length in there, if you know what I mean. Polestar, you just simply push on it and it'll pop out, and then you can get access to your port just like this. You can see we're ready to go. So let's put this bad boy on. Hiya. Clicks. We got some light changing. Yellow, doing a handshake with my charger, making sure things are good. And we got green. Green means we're good. We had a green light inside the car too that you couldn't see, but that's it. That's how you plug it in. To disconnect the charging cable from your Polestar, simply click this button here, wait for it to blink, literally get the green light, and you're good to go. So our Polestar is plugged in and it is charging as indicated by that very friendly, very reassuring, positive green light that is blinking at us. You have an estimated completion time, what your current battery level's at now, what your limit is set to. You can see I have it set to 90%, what your current range is, and some information on how fast we're charging. So you can see that we're only getting 8 miles an hour. Coming over to the center infotainment system, you can see I'm on the car menu, over to the charge. And here's where you can change some of your charging options. And that's almost everything. Here are some last minute notes that I didn't cover but wanted to be sure to mention. There is limited visibility in the rear windshield when looking back. The Polestar 2 is currently made in China. The car appeals to green and vegan peeps. And some over-the-air updates are coming and will continue to do so with the life of the car. Keeping this very short, as you just watched all the full details, the exterior and interior are great, it feels and handles well, there's a good amount of utility, and the technology is sufficient. But the technology is still a bit lacking, and the range is a bit tight, especially with winter and cold weather driving. Road trips would be harder. In a bubble, it seems like a solid car, but it still doesn't quite match up to the de facto standard of the Model 3, its main competitor. With the Model 3 currently $2,700 cheaper and offering better specs, charging, and technology, the only differentiator the Polestar 2 has going is a traditional luxury car look with a better ride. Don't get me wrong, I still think this is a fantastic car that can work for a lot of people, even in the North. It will be exciting to see how Polestar improves in the next couple of years to see if it can climb the stack of EV options out there. Leave a comment with what you think and what else I should cover. Thank you for the likes and subscribes. And with that, I'll see you up north.